Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Billy Wants It All. Last week we started the book. We read chapters 1 and 2. We followed Billy and how he learned about money and the importance of saving and how he could use certain methods to get the things he wants. If you didn't hear me read chapters 1 and 2, they will be on this channel you're watching this video on. So make sure to go watch that one before you watch this one. And like last time, I want to hear your thoughts on the two chapters we're going to be reading today. We're reading chapters 3 and 4. I will give you my thoughts on both of the chapters at the end, so let's jump straight into it. So today, we will be reading chapter 3 first, and that is called Football and Skateboarding. "Mom, can I use the computer, please?" Billy shouted out randomly, hoping his mom, wherever she was, might hear. A muffled, "What for?" drifted down the stairs. Billy ran towards the sound. "I need to make some posters. Granddad told me to, for my skateboarding lessons." After what seemed like ages, Billy's mom appeared on the landing. She had a towel wrapped around her head, turban style, and streaks of brown running down her face and onto her neck. "How many?" Billy peered up at her, but chose to say nothing about how she looked. "Just 3 large ones." He didn't want to say too big, in case she said no. "And 10 small, to hand out around to the playground." "Okay, but mind the papers on my office desk. Don't just shove them to one side. It's all the marking I've got to do." She disappeared from view. Billy set about making the skateboard lesson posters after he had finished printing. He left her office as he'd found it, except that he put the PTA note about the tablet computers right on top of Mom's pile of papers, hoping she might see it and buy him one. The following morning, during school assembly, Miss Johnston, the head teacher, read out notices about all the activities coming up in the next few weeks. "I have a note here from Miss Grundy, who's in charge of sports. It says the school has an opportunity to take part in the mixed U11A football league, and at lunchtime today, she will hold trials for years 5 and 6 for any boy or girl interested in playing for the team. If you are, meet her in the sports hall at 1 p.m. A buzz of excitement ran through the hall, and the general noise level rose. "Before we finish, we have one more notice." Miss Johnston waved a highly colorful sheet of paper around. She stopped talking while she read it to herself. As she did, her eyebrows moved together, and little vertical lines appeared between them. "Will Billy Field please stand up?" She looked around the hall. "Is this yours?" Billy swallowed hard. He felt a bit lightheaded. Everyone turned to look at him. "Yes, Miss Johnston." His hesitant voice only made it a few rows in front of him. "What have I done?" he thought. "This sounds like an enterprising scheme. Billy is offering skateboarding lessons." She showed the poster again. "So if you want some help, you know who to ask. Oh, and Billy, good luck in the under-15 skateboarding championships." Billy's face turned all red, all the way to the tips of his ears. His legs trembled. "Thank you, Mrs. Johnston, and if anyone wants any skateboarding lessons, please find me at break time." "Right, boys and girls," Miss Grundy clapped her hands. The sound echoed throughout the sports hall. "Gather around, please. I see we have—" She stopped speaking while she counted. 20 hopefuls. I need 11. Please, plus 2 reserves for the team. As you can see, I've set up a course. I want each of you to take a ball and dribble the length of the hall, weaving in and out of the cones as you go. Once you reach the far end, pick up your ball and run back to the start, and then do the course again. I want to see ball control, speed, and stamina. That means how puffed out you feel. Form a line, and on my whistle, off you go. The noise in the hall exploded when everyone jostled to grab a place in the queue. Tom set off first, and Billy fourth, and Ant couldn't tie his laces quickly enough, and ended up being at the back of the line. Both Tom and Billy had completed one circuit before Ant had even started. "Come on, get a move on!" Tom grabbed Ant around the waist and pushed him forward. "Run or you'll never get a place in the team." After a few minutes of chaos, the bright orange and white striped cones no longer stood in neat lines, but rolled haphazardly wherever they gotten kicked. Footballs took on a life of their own, bouncing everywhere, where children ran in all directions trying to bring theirs or any other balls back under their control. Miss Grundy herself came under siege by a complaining mob unable to complete the trial for one reason or another. The high-pitched, piercing tone of a whistle, blown with all the strength she could manage, deafened those close to her, while it brought everyone else to an abrupt standstill. "I've seen enough. Thank you. I'll put up a notice on the board in the main corridor. If your name is on it, you will need to collect a permission form for away matches and a list of kit needed from the school secretary, Miss Wixon. Is that understood?" A murmured, "Yes, miss," followed as everyone filed back to their classrooms. Billy arrived home from school with a proud smile spread across his face. He burst through the back door and into the kitchen. "Mom! Mom!" He looked around an empty room. "Where are you?" Billy dashed out into the hall. "Here, in my study, marking homework." Billy yanked open the door and sped through it like a high-speed train exiting a tunnel. "Whoa, slow down." Billy's mom grabbed at her piles of books, fearing he would knock them everywhere. "What is it?" "Me? 2 things." Billy spoke so fast that he didn't make any sense. "You what?" His mom still had no idea how he'd grown so excited. "I've got 4 kids for lessons and—" He stopped to take a breath. "I got picked for the new football team to play in the mixed U11A league." Billy jumped up and down several times. The sheets of paper he held flapped in time with the jumps. "Billy, that's fantastic!" His mom stood, and her outstretched arms pulled him into her. She hugged him tight. "Just wait until your dad hears. He'll be so pleased." He managed to wiggle free. "These are for you." He handed her the constant form and kit list. Billy's mom quickly glanced at the form and list of kit items. "I'll take a proper look later." More expense, she thought, and then put them down. "Come on, let's make a special celebration tea. Dad'll get home soon." And that was the end of chapter 3. It was a good chapter, but I'll give my thoughts at the end of the video. So let's jump straight in to chapter 4. Skidding in the rain. Early evening, a week later, the distinctive sound of a telephone ringing filled Billy's house, accompanied by a shout from his mom. "Can you answer that?" Billy stood in his bedroom, modeling his new football kit. The shirt looked mostly blue, with a yellow swirl running diagonally across the chest, just below the neck, and disappearing under the right arm to continue as a vertical line down to the waist. His school badge was stitched onto the top left front, and onto the back was a large yellow number 9. For center forward. The shorts in the same blue material also had a vertical yellow line running up from the right leg into the waist. Billy stood in front of the wardrobe mirror and twisted himself like a corkscrew so that he could get a look at his back as well as his front. "I'm trying on my new football kit," he called back. The telephone continued to ring. The strained voice of his mom came back. "Please, Billy, my rubber gloves are all wet. It's probably Dad to say he'll be late." "Okay." Billy ran from his room, along the landing, down the stairs, and into the kitchen. Jacko heard the commotion and stood to greet him. "Sorry, Jax." Billy ran past without even giving him a stroke. "I've got to get this." He lunged to the telephone just as it stopped ringing. Bother. "Mom, I missed it." As he spoke, the answer machine came on. "This is the Royal Berkshire Hospital, A&E Department. Please ring 0118326111. Thank you," followed by a click and silence. Mom! Billy called at the top of his voice. Quick! It's the hospital! I'm here, what happened? Billy's mom gasped as she ran down the stairs, still wearing her pink rubber gloves and carrying a plastic bottle of bathroom cleaner. The hospital. They left a message. I couldn't get to the phone quick enough. I tried, asked Jacko. Asked Jacko. They both listened to the answer machine. His mom dialed the number, and music sounded from the phone. It's busy. She held the receiver away from her ear, and the tiny sound of some old pop song blasted from it. Do you think it's Dad? Billy's voice had a hint of panic. Or Granddad? He complained about his knees the other day. Billy paled and clenched his stomach at the thought of his granddad in hospital. Hey, not so fast. We've no idea. Anyway, Granddad has to go to the hospital for an operation soon, so I doubt it's him. What if he fell or something? Billy looked at the telephone. Come on, answer. Hello, A&E department. Nurse Collins speaking. How can I help you? Came from the telephone. Oh, hi. Someone called from this number and left a message? Who's speaking, please? The voice sounded calm and reassuring. Miss Field. Just one moment, please. Billy and his mom could hear the click-clack sound of a computer keyboard. Miss Field, is Walter Field your husband? Yes. Why? What's happened to him? A tingle ran down her spine and Billy turned pale. He pulled on his mom's sleeve. What's she saying? Shh, I'm trying to listen. His mom pressed the phone hard against her ear. If it was bad news, she wanted to know first without Billy overhearing. Mom, please tell me. Hold still. She turned away from Billy so that she could hear clearly. Yes, we could come right away. It'll take us about half an hour. She hung up the phone. Come on, Billy, quick. But I've got my football kit on. Oh, never mind. Just grab your coat. No one will see. Do we need grapes? Billy looked up at his mom as they walked from the car park towards the hospital building. Can you see a sign? These places are always so confusing. As Billy's mom became more anxious, the lump in her throat felt more uncomfortable. Grapes? They're for sick people. She swallowed hard. We don't know Dad's not. Everyone takes grapes to hospitals, Billy insisted. Let's find out what's what first. Now, which way do we go? They both stood and studied the signs. There, Billy pointed. The one with the white writing on red. Come on, Mom. He took hold of her hand and pulled. Miss Field, the nurse at reception repeated her name. They've taken your husband to the observation ward, straight through the double doors at the end of the corridor. Before the nurse had finished speaking, Billy's mom had grabbed his hand and set off at top speed. Come on. Mom, slow down, you're hurting me. The double doors banged behind her. Ah, here we are. She looked around for a nurse. Can you help me, please? I'm looking for Walter Field. Billy's mom sounded out of breath and puffed as she spoke. This is Billy. Nice to meet you, Billy. The ward nurse flashed him a big smile. Now don't fret. Your dad's had a car accident. Nothing too serious. No bones broken. But he banged his head. We just need to keep him in overnight to make sure he's okay. The nurse maintained her smile as she spoke. Billy wondered if he should tell her she had a bit of green cabbage or something on her tooth. He couldn't stop looking at it, but he felt too worried about his dad to bother. Can I see him? But we've no grapes. Yes, of course. I'm sure he won't mind about no grapes. He might seem a bit drowsy. We gave him something to help him sleep. There he is, Mom. Billy ran ahead. Dad, it's us. Billy threw his arms around him. Steady, son. I feel a bit sore. His dad hugged him back. He tried to turn his head, but it proved too difficult. Where's Mom? You gave us a scare. Billy's mom bent and kissed her husband. Ew, Mom, that's gross. Billy looked away, embarrassed. So what happened? She sat across to her husband and took hold of his hand. Water. Well, a large puddle, really. You know that sharp corner at the bottom of Lake Hill? I came around it, not particularly fast, and the next thing I knew, the car ended up in a ditch. and some chap stood asking if I felt okay. Well, I'm so glad you're all right. What about your car? Written off, I reckon. We'll have to wait for the insurance company. Core, does that mean we got a new car? Billy sat at the end of the bed, pretending to drive. How about one like James Bond? They go super fast. Go on, Dad, say, yes, please. I like having Dad at home. Billy sat at the kitchen table, reading his school book. He looked up at his mom and smiled. It's only been a day, Billy. He'll go back to work after the weekend. But how will he get there? He's got no car. The insurance company will give us a spare one until we get a new one. His mom continued rolling out some pastry. Insurance? Is that like investment? Billy wrote his name in the flour that dusted the table. Not really. His mom thought some more. Well, sort of. With insurance, you pay money to a company just in case something bad happens, and if it does, they put it right, like Dad in the car. Billy twisted his mouth while he thought more about her answer. What if nothing bad ever happens? And if you don't get your money back, then you've wasted it. Not really. Having insurance means that you've got not really. Having insurance means that you've had not worry about what would happen if the house flooded, or the car crashed, or your holiday got ruined. You take insurance out on large things that are expensive or difficult to replace, like your cars, house, and holidays. You couldn't replace me. Have you got insurance on me? Billy held a cheeky grin. Well, that's not such a silly thing to ask. Life insurance is for people, and pet insurance is for animals like Jacko. As the mention of his name, Jacko appeared from under the table and it nudged Billy's arm. How's my bestest dog, then? Billy gave Jacko a big hug. Mom has you insured. He buried his face in the dog's fur. Haven't you? Billy looked at his mom for reassurance. Yes, for some vet bills, but insurance doesn't pay for everything. With the car insurance, we'll have to get a new one, but we'll still have to pay some money toward it. And that was the end of Chapter 4. That was rather quick. So my thoughts on Chapter 3 and 4 is actually nothing that I thought would have happened. If you watched me read Chapter 1 and 2, I was hoping that Chapters 3 and 4 would be about Billy putting his plans into action. But this comes as a surprise because we didn't get that. So Chapter 3, we mostly saw Billy at school. He made the posters off screen, if you will. We didn't watch him make it, he just made them. And he put it up. And I was not expecting a football team to be in the story. So since this doesn't happen in America, football is soccer. So when they say football, they mean soccer. So Billy got into a soccer team. That's what they mean by football. It's called something else elsewhere. And then Chapter 4 was really, at first when I was reading it, I wasn't sure how I felt about it. But now I think it makes sense. Because it was a little all over the place. Like it began at Billy's house, and then suddenly he was at the hospital, and then suddenly it was a day later at his house. And reading that out loud was kind of weird, because it just happened so quickly. But, I think it was important to tell, because now I see how it connects. Is that it has to do now with insurance. Insurance has to do with money, and this book's all about money and saving and how using it in the correct ways. So I can see why that they did that, with Billy's father getting into the car accident and all that. So that makes sense. When I was going through it, I was a little taken back. I was kind of surprised they went that route. But when you're reading a book, it's good that you can't predict it. And I don't think anybody saw this coming. I didn't see this coming. So I'm glad that this happened. That this part of the story happened. I didn't see this coming at all. So Chapter 3. Chapter 4, I liked it. But I feel like it was a little quick. Not that bad, but it was good. It was important to show, and that's what I like. It wasn't just useless filler story put in for more pages. It actually means something. So, I would like to hear what you think about these chapters 3 and 4, how you felt about Billy getting onto a soccer team, what that might come into later in the story, what that means. I want to hear your thoughts about Billy's father, and if you thought it was important to show the car accident he got to, and the whole insurance part of it, the mentioning of it, if that'll play into anything later in the story. So for now, that's it. We read 2 more chapters, and next week we'll read chapters 5 and 6. And maybe, if you want, in the comments say what you think will happen next chapter. I don't know anymore, because now that we have the whole dad thing and the soccer thing, I feel like anything could happen, and I'm kind of, I have no idea where this can go. But that's what makes a good book. So I hope everybody is having a good week. I hope you keep working hard in school, and I'll see you next week for the next reading. Bye-bye.